Okay.
Okay, so over here we are now looking at the income T account. Okay, now
Oh,
income is basically a bit different, but the basics will be same that we discussed in the expense T account, right? Again, we
okay,
studied two
sir.
kind of income. One was prepaid income and one was accrued income, right? Now,
Yes.
if you remember, accrued income was one of a kind of asset, right? Because it means delayed income. Any income that we received on a delayed basis, that is our asset, right? So first of all, if there is any opening balance relating to accrued income, it comes on the
Yes.
debit side, because you know that this is obviously an asset for us, right?
Yes, sir.
Just give me a second. There is a loud street vendor. Just a second.
Oh, okay, 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 sir.
Okay. So on the other side, what we write as, we write the opening balance, but this is of a prepaid income, because one liability
Okay.
that we studied was prepaid income. Prepaid income means that any income we have earned beforehand, right? So
Okay.
prepaid income is a
Okay.
liability. So opening for that will come on the credit side over here.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
so this is one thing. Now in the expenses, if you remember, I told you the cash paid comes on debit side, right? But in this
Yes,
one, there
sir.
is obviously no cash paid. There is a cash received in this, right? So this is income,
Yes, sir.
obviously. So what we'll do is the cash received, we'll write it on the credit side. Again, I'll write the double entry as well. Double entry for this will be debit will do cash and credit will do income, right?
Yes, sir.
So obviously this is an income account. We are writing this on the credit side, cash received.
Oh,
Okay,
sir.
right. Now, similarly, we total them off over here. This is total, this is total.
Okay, sir.
And if the opposite effect again, if the closing of prepaid income
Okay.
comes over here, okay, and the closing of accrued income, accrued income comes over here. Okay, this is
Okay.
mostly the T account complete. Just one thing is remaining in the statement of profit or loss, the balancing figure, the P&L. P&L basically means profit or loss. The balancing figure of income will be coming on this side, because obviously we need to
Okay.
include some expense, right? We
Yes.
need to include some income, obviously, right? So this will be coming on this side, and this is the main highlighted figure over here. Okay, the
Okay, sir.
profit or loss income that we will be including. This is the balancing figure.
Oh,
Okay, so till here, are you clear?
yes, clear, sir.
Okay, great. That's wonderful. Now, this is mostly income and expense account. I'll send you again these notes as well, so that
Okay.
everything is clear. Okay. Now, what we'll do is that we are mostly done with this topic. And
Okay, sir.
as you know, there were six things in the start that I told you:
Yes.
prepaid income, prepaid expense, accrued income,
Yes.
accrued expense, four things, right? And
Yes.
then expense T account and then income T account. These six things are there.
Done, sir.
Okay,
Simple
right?
only, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
sir.
in questions, you can experience some difficulties. But again, obviously,
Yes.
I'm there for the problem discussion. So we'll try to do as
Yes.
much questions as we can today, right? Preferably, I want to do the all questions so that this topic,
So
Ashwanta, it's
questions
very.
we are doing today or tomorrow, sir?
Let's do some of the questions today so that you're clear about the
Sure.
concept. Let's say like four,
Okay.
5 questions, right? If that's fine with you.
Okay.
And remaining
Yes.
questions, what we'll do is we'll keep a class tomorrow. Okay,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes.
So let's take a small break before that.
Yes.
And after
Yes.
that, okay, so we'll just be doing some of the questions, preferably like 3 or 4 questions today, and in detail
Okay.
we'll be looking at the questions tomorrow. Okay. Now, first
Tomorrow.
question
Fine.
is question number 154. This just has in the Kaplan kit, it just has 12 questions. Okay. In total, there are 12.
Okay.
So we'll probably, if we have time tomorrow, we'll look at the BPP as well. Okay. So over
Sure.
here in question 154, what it's asking is you will get like mostly these kind of questions, that what amount
Okay.
should be credited to statement of profit or loss for the year ended 31st December 2016 in respect of rental income. So one thing we
Okay.
know,
Got.
before starting every accrual and prepayment question, we need to know that is the question relating to a income or expense. We need to know this first of all.
Oh.
Okay, so
Okay,
this
sir.
question, obviously, as you know, this is relating to income, right? So which T
Yes.
account should we make? We should make an income T account. Okay, now when I'll
Yes,
teach you the
sir.
questions in detail as well, even today as well, I'll teach you to do questions from two methods, right? First method will be that T accounts that I just made, right? But that is honestly, I would say, a bit longer process, right? We have to do all the,
Yes.
formalities, opening, closing, everything. There is one simpler method as well that is called a timeline method. Okay, probably I'll be discussing that maybe today, maybe tomorrow. It's a very simple one.
Okay.
It's all common sense
Okay.
based. Okay, but this question for sure, this will be done through that T account method. Okay, so again, what it's asking is, it's asking what income would be credited in the profit or loss. So basically, it's asking this highlighted figure, the profit or loss income, what will include. Okay, right?
Okay.
Now, I'll make a separate T account for this question. So this is income. Okay, now first let's read the question. What it's saying is, Ledley owns two properties which it rents to tenants. Okay, so it has two properties and it earns rental income from that. It rents out to people. Okay, in the year ended 31st December 16, it received 2,80,000 in respect of property 1 and 1,60,000 in respect of property 2. Now, what are these two amounts? These are cash received, which will be written over here. These ones, you can say these ones, cash received.
Yes, sir.
These both are
Yes,
cash received.
correct, sir.
Okay. Now, balances on the prepaid and accrued income account are as follows. Okay, fine. So we have to, just because there is a debit credit written over here, so it makes it easy for
Yes.
us. It's not written like a opening accrued expense or a opening accrued income, right? It's not written like that.
Yes, sir.
Just debit credit, we'll have to do it like that. Now, one thing to note over here is that these are two dates, right? This is the 31st December 16. This is 31st December 2015. So this should be the opening
Yes,
date
correct.
because these balances are coming from the last year. So this should be opening
Yes.
for today's,
Yes.
for this year, right? And this should be closing balance. This should be closing
Correct,
figures
sir.
because this is the later date, 2016. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now for property one, what we do is that opening balance we have 12,300 credit. Okay. So over here 12,300 credit. Now, don't be confused from here because in these questions, in accrual and prepayment T accounts, we can have opening balance and closing balance on both sides together as well. Okay, but that again means that
Oh,
it's a maybe accrued income or a prepaid income. Okay, now you can
oh,
see the opening was 12,300 credit and closing was how
yes,
much? 13,400 debit. Okay, so
yes, sir.
13,400 debit. Okay, now
Yes.
talking about property 2, what it has? 5,400 debit opening balance. This is the opening one,
Hmm.
right? So 5,400 debit. You can see opening balances are coming
Yes.
on both sides, but this is not to be confused.
Yes.
It's very simple. This means this was a prepaid income and this means this was accrued income because it was asset.
No, sir, I'm not confused. Easy, understood only, sir.
Okay, right? Great. Now, closing was 6,700 credit, right? So
Okay.
closing was 6,700 on the credit side. Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Um, we'll write the totals. And yes, one thing is left, cash received that we studied in the question. So cash received was how much? 280 plus 160 for both the properties because we are making one T account. So I'll include it as a one amount. So 280 plus 160 is 440,
Oh,
right? So 440,000. Okay, this
yes,
is
sir.
cash received for the total year. Okay, now we're just left with one thing because we had to tell the income, like what is the income, the P&L figure. We have to tell this one.
Yes, sir.
We'll just balance them off. Okay, first, as you know, on the
Okay.
total side we write the heavier amount, right? So heavier amount
Okay.
is the credit side, 440,000 plus 6,700 and plus 12,300. So it's 459,000. 459,000, and over here as well
Yes.
459,000. Okay, now from this we minus 13,400 and we minus 5,400. It gives us 440,200.
So
Four lakh
basically,
forty
we have to
thousand.
add 13,400 and 5,400 and minus the total with 4 lakh
Yeah,
fifty-nine
yeah,
thousand.
459,000. Yeah, exactly. Just it's just the same that we did the balancing of T accounts in the first class,
Yes.
right? It's just the same as
Okay.
that because this is, remember, this is the balancing figure. The income account that we are finding is the P&L amount that will be added in the profit or loss as income.
Okay, sir.
Okay, because that is being asked in the question in the requirement as well. You can see what amount should be credited in the profit or loss for rental income. So it's this amount, 440,200. Right? Now it's not
Yes.
important that in every question they will ask you this. Maybe they can ask you the closing accrual as well, or a closing prepayment as well. But that questions we will do gradually as we move forward.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now let's do 155. So in this question, first of all, read the requirement, and then we have to identify, is this an income question or is this an expense question? Okay. So what
Okay.
amount should appear in Troy Company's statement of profit or loss for the year ended 31st December 16 for rental income? Again, same question as above, right? But over here, we still have to deal with the T account because more balances are given over here. In the question in which we have opening, closing, a lot of balances, we normally make the T account in that question. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, Troy Company has a property rental business and received cash totaling 838,600 from tenants. So this is the total cash received in the total year end.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so figures for rent in advance and arrears at beginning and end of year were these. Now let's look at this logically. First, again, let me make an income account over here. So this is income.
Yes.
Okay, now let's see how the opening and closing balances will be written. Now, this is rent received in advance. In other words, if you remember, it was prepaid income, right? Rent received in
Yes.
advance means prepaid income, and prepaid income was a liability. Liability, right? It was a liability. Now, this is the opening date 2015, and this is the closing date 2016. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
that means that opening prepaid income was this much, right? This is opening, and
That will be the
closing.
opening balance, and 88,700 will be the closing
Yeah,
balance.
yeah,
Yes,
but
sir.
these will be the credit figures, right? So what we do is
Yes, yes.
that opening balance 102,600, right?
Hmm.
And closing of the liability comes over here, as you know, right? Prepaid income closing
Yes,
comes
sir.
over here. So that means
Yes.
88,700 will be coming over here,
Correct, sir.
because this is the closing balance, the opposite effect, as you
Correct.
remember, right? Now,
Yes.
rent in arrears means, now arrears and accrual, these both are the same. You might have seen in your household bills as well, like electricity bill, gas bill, right? You might have seen this word
Yes.
arrears. Arrears means that, again, let's say you were out of country in the month of October, you could not pay the bill,
Okay.
or due to some reason you could not pay the bill. Now in November's bill, that last bill will be added as well, so it increases your burden, it increases your
Okay.
liability. But over here, this
Yes, sir.
question is of income, right? So this is accrued income.
Okay.
Accrued income.
Okay,
And
sir.
accrued income was our asset, right? So this is the opening asset, this is the closing asset. 42,300 is the opening, 42,300 is the opening, and closing is how
Yes, sir.
much? Closing is 48,400,
400.
right? 48,400. Great. Now we write the cash received as well. Total cash received 838,600. Cash received 838,600. This is written on the credit side. Okay. Now we just simply have to find what amount should appear as a rental income in the profit or loss. So again, this figure, the income figure in the P&L as a balancing figure. Okay.
Yes.
Let's find this out. So first of all, we'll write the totals over here. This one and this one. Just give me a second.
Okay.
838,600 plus 48,400 plus 102,600, 989,600, 989,600 and
Okay.
989,600 on both sides. Okay. Now we minus the other side, minus 88,700 and
Yes,
minus
sir.
42,300. So we'll get the
Yes.
balancing figure as 858,600. Okay.
Okay, sir.
This is the income figure that we needed in the accounts. Okay. So 858,
Okay.
858,600. Okay.
Okay.
Right. Now I'll do this last question. This is 156. I'll do this last because I think it's too much for today. And the remaining
Yes.
questions we'll do in tomorrow's class. Okay. This is the last one.
Okay.
But this question I'll teach you with a new method, which is the timeline method. It's very simple to understand. It's exactly based
Okay.
on the accrual concept. In this, we will not be using any T account. Okay. Now,
Oh,
details
okay.
of B company insurance policy are as follows. right? So normally insurance premium are expenses, right? Insurance policies are expenses. So this is
Yes.
also expense. This is a question of expense, not income. Okay. Now,
Okay.
what figures should be included in B company's financial statements for the year ended 30th June 16? So again, we need to tell the expense. Now, always remember, I'll go back to again the notes that I made, these ones. Okay. Now, if you read point 3, what it says is accrual concept states that only income or expenses. So in this case, it's expense because it's a question of
Yes.
expense, right? So it
Yes.
states that only income and expenses relating to the period. Now, relating to period means till the year end, just till the year end, not below that, not higher than that. Okay. To which it
Yes.
relates should be recorded only as expense or income, not anything which exceeds that. Okay. So this exact rule, this point number 3, we have to follow in the timeline method. Okay. Now let's do
Oh,
the timeline method. It's very simple. Now, basically, the year end, first let me make a year end timeline so that it's easier to understand. This whole is a year end. Okay. So it ended on 30th June 16, 30th June 16, right? So when did it start? It started on 1st July 15, right? This makes it 12 months: July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. 12 months. Full 12 months.
yes.
This is the year end. But the problem is that it made two payments to insurance, to its insurance company. It made two payments, and those are basically overlapping each other, right? One is
Okay.
coming in the middle and one is exceeding the year end. That is the problem. Okay. But if you
Yes.
remember point 3, we only have to record the expense or the income. In this case, it's expense. We only have to record the expense to the period which it relates to. That's it. Okay. Now, you see, premium for the year ended 31st March 16, paid April 15. Okay. So that means this first premium, I'm writing over here, first premium, it paid on which dates? These ones. Look, this and this. So this is 31st March 16, right? And when it started on 1st April 15, right? Now tell me, is this coming in the year end? Yes, some months are coming,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Because this is 31st March 16 for the year ended
Okay.
31st March 16, and premium for the year ending 31st March 17, paid April 16. So again, this is the second
Yes.
premium. Let me write it over here. Second premium, right? It was this one, right? And it was 31st March 17. 31st March
Sir,
17.
this timeline method alone, I'm not able to understand very clearly, sir.
Basically, what
It's a
happens
little
in
bit
this,
confusing.
what happens in this is that basically the period for which we have paid the income or the expense, it is not matching to
Okay.
the year end of us, right? Let's say I
Okay.
have a company and my year end is 31st December, which is just 2 months from now, right? 31st December, for example. And I've made
Okay,
one
sir.
payment. I've made one payment which relates to next 6 months, which from today. So that means it's
Okay.
overlapping. I've paid in November, it's ending in April, but my year end is
Okay,
31st
sir.
December, right? So I will be only including in this year for the cutoff basis, I will only be including November and December months only, not January, February, March, April, not the remaining four. Just 2 months I'll be including in this one. The remaining four will be dealt in the future. That will be my
Okay.
prepayment. Okay, because I've
Okay,
made a
sir.
prepayment. So this is what we're doing in the timeline method. Okay, so we'll try to solve this. If there is any issue, we can solve it in the next class. Okay. Now,
Yes,
in
sir.
this one, 1st April 15 till 31st March 16, these whole months are basically coming in this one, right? But the problem is that this year end, the year is starting from 1st July, right? But this payment started on 1st April. So that means this
Yes.
payment from here, from 1st July 15, it will be coming over here in this year, right? So how many months from here till here? Let's count: July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, and March. Just 9 months, right? Just
Okay.
9 months of these are coming over here, right?
Okay.
Till here. So these are 9 months. And what about the remaining three? What about the remaining three? These remaining three are coming from this one, from this second premium. Okay. Now let's check. This was till 31st. March 16, right? This payment ended on 31st March 16, right? Now, what about the remaining months? That means April, May, and June. These are remaining over here, right? So that means these will be taken
Yes.
from here. So April till June. Let's say June is over here. So 30th June 16, right? So what we do is 1st April till 30th June. This will be April, May, June, 3 months. Okay. So
Okay.
3 months will be taken from this one. So that means 9 months from the first premium we have taken
Okay.
and 3 months from the second premium, because the year end was in between, right? So they're overlapping each other. So this is the
Okay,
timeline
sir.
method. I personally think this is much easier than the T account, because in T account we don't know, how to balance off the dates. So what we do is
Yes.
that the expense, this whole will be the expense. Now how do we calculate expense? Now for this month, for first premium, we paid 10,800 for the full year, and for the second one, how much we paid? 12,000, right? So this is
Okay.
12,000. Okay. So we know from the first premium, we are just taking 9 months. 9 by 12.
Okay.
What will be the answer? Let's check. 10,800 into 9 by 10,800 into 9 by 12 is 750. No, 10,800 into 9 by 12. 8,100. Sorry. 8,100. And for the remaining 3 months, because we have to cover the whole 12 months, right? 1 year is of 112 months whole, right? So
Okay.
12,000 into 3 by 12, remaining 3 months will be taken from the second premium, these first 3 months,
Okay.
and this will be 3,000. Okay, so the
Okay,
total
sir.
expense that we have according to that point 3, that only the income or expenses relating to the period are incurred in that year end. Okay, so this will be, I
Okay.
think, 11,100. This is our expense. And now you can see that now 30th June 16, we have ended our year. So on this date, the year has been ended. Now, what about the remaining 9 months which are remaining? Because this 12,000 was for the whole 12 months, right? Out of these, only
Yes.
3 months have been taken to fulfill that year end, right? But what about the remaining nine? So these will be our prepayment. Why prepayment? Because second premium was till 31st March 17. He paid it on
Okay.
April 16. So that means one
Okay,
year
sir.
before he paid it, right? When he
Okay.
started the payments, that means it's a prepayment. One thing is for sure. For first premium
Okay.
and the second premium, for both it was a prepayment, right? So that
Okay.
means this remaining 9 months, which will be 12,000 into 9 by 12, this is 9,000, right? So 9,000 will be our prepayment, because it's the benefit that we have to take yet, but the payment has been made. It's an asset for us,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
11,100 is the statement of profit or loss expense, and 9,000 is the prepayment that will be going to the next year. Okay, so that means A
Okay.
option should be correct over here. Okay,
Okay.
initially you might experience some problems in the timeline method, but slowly and
Okay.
gradually, as we practice the question, you yourself will say one day that this is much easier one than the T accounts.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right? So did you understand even like 30-40% of this question? Because it's not
Yes,
important to.
sir. Like I understood, sir, but like,
Mhm.
yes, sir, no problem. So we can do like one more question tomorrow and just see
Yeah,
if
yeah,
we
yeah.
have any doubt.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Oh.
So you can revise the topic
Oh.
from the book, right?